If you took your last rand and threw it at a random South African road, you'd probably make a wish on a pothole or hit a MotoGP 60/60 driver or hit a Chinese car. Not to say that I actually have a rand to throw away, but I do have a Chinese vehicle to review. Welcome to the H6 GT, and yes, it's the plug-in version. So Haval is one of the bigger Chinese hitters in the country with solid sales rivaling those of other Chinese brands and even legacy ones too. But what's the relationship between Haval and GWM? Well, let me explain. GWM is the parent company and Haval happens to be their SUV brand. So same family, different focus. Think Toyota and Lexus, but Chinese and only focusing on one car type. Now that that's cleared up, let's get into the review of the H6 GT PHEV. On the surface, it looks almost identical to the petrol GT, but under the skin things get a little more electric. See what I did there? Classic. Anyway, yeah, it's a plug-in hybrid, which has been attracting a number of urban buyers as the technology offers a lot more financial freedom, either in overall price or fuel economy. And safe to say, the H6 GT here does keep both very affordable. Okay, so we got chased away from the park by a bunch of birds, but let's talk about the specs of this car. So like your X, it's a little bit of a, split personality with the 1.5 litre turbo petrol engine pushing out 110 kilowatts with 230 Newton meters of torque. Pretty decent. Now, pair it up with a 35.4 kilowatt hour battery and you're looking at a power outage of 321 kilowatts. And astonishingly, over 700 Newton meters of torque. That's what makes this a beautiful performance SUV. So I have to talk about one thing. How is that power managed? Well, all of that power is sent through an all-wheel drive system with a motor on each axle and is controlled by a 2-speed DHT gearbox, which is pretty clever if you think about it. This looks here like a very clever goal. Now, if you understand that reference, you're as old as I am. But you have to admit, it kind of does look like a Velociraptor, and it's just as quick. Alright, Haval claims a 0 to 100 time of 4.9 seconds. That puts it on par with the likes of the EX30, the infamous A45, and even a Golf R. So with all that power and all that acceleration, this is probably the only view you're ever going to get of the H6 on the road. But what's it like with range? So on full EV, you're looking between 170 to 180 kilometers, which is pretty decent because that's at least 3 to 4 days of your normal work week without spending a single drop of fuel, which is pretty remarkable in our economy. But combined with the petrol engine, Haval is claiming over 1,000 kilometers. But realistically, I'm thinking between maybe 900, 950. I haven't been able to do a range test, but don't take my word for it. You'll have to try it out. They got that figures in ideal conditions, and we all know you can't get ideal conditions in our country. But I suppose that figure is based on how you drive, but also what mode you've set it on, which leads me to my next question. How is the power managed? Well, you have 3 smart modes to choose from, starting off with full EV. And as the name implies, it's basically running the electric battery to its fullest abilities, only kicking in the petrol engine under heavy load. So no taking your mum on rides in this mode. I'm kidding. When I mean heavy load, I mean hard acceleration or when the battery is near depletion. So the next mode is intelligent hybrid, and this should be your default if work and school drop-offs in the morning are a bit of a distance away, or if you're using it for a long distance trip. So how it works is it prioritizes the petrol motor and only uses the battery at very low speeds. I think it's like maybe below 30 kilometers an hour. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I've seen from this. So the nice thing about it is the petrol motor charges the battery as you drive. So you will basically have an extra amount of electrical energy after a long distance. The last mode is EV priority. Now you might be asking yourself, what's the difference between EV priority and full EV? Well, EV priority is a little bit more flexible as to when the petrol motor kicks in. It won't let you go to the absolute max in electric mode, but it's a little bit more, smart when it comes to that. And this should be your, default for just like daily commuting and stuff like that. This has been the mode that I've been, primarily using while doing my testing, but I have switched it over to hybrid on the occasional highway drive. And honestly, those are the two modes I would use the most. They are very smart and they're very intelligent as to when, managing which motor to use, electric or petrol. So beyond those 3 power modes, you have 7 drive modes: standard, eco, sport, mud, sand, and all-wheel drive. But let's be honest, you're really watching this for sport mode. It really awakens this beast of a car. And here's a little launch with it. Wow, I'm not gonna lie, it really is an exciting thing to launch this car. Just honestly using all of that 321 kilowatts just to send it straight to 100. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it does get a little bit shaky. I don't know if that was a lane keep assist trying to, correct me, but the steering felt like it was a little bit all over the place. But yeah, I can't lie, it was fun. And I promise you, if you get this car, you'll really enjoy it. Oh man, it's just fantastic around the corners. It's so fun. It's so stable. Oh. 8 to 9 out of 10 for punchy performance. When you need the power, it is there, as expected of any, EV. So nearly unnoticeable body roll, and it handles like a champ around corners. Really hugging it. Oh, hello, how are you? Oof, that was a nice, oh, that was nice. Yeah, I get excited when I see cool cars on the road. But yeah, this is a really cool car, especially around the bends. Handles it well, very confident. Like I said, minimal, nearly unnoticeable body roll. And that's all thanks to the suspension, which unfortunately is a little bit too tuned. So I wouldn't really take this on gravel roads because that'll be the most uncomfortable ride of your life. All right, another small issue is the weight. Just thinking about it now, I was gonna say it felt even and great, but I'm changing my answer to, I'm not sure the right word. Sluggish isn't the word to use. Maybe it's because of the position of the battery and all of the extra weight from that hardware. It feels a little saggy. Yeah, I hate saying that word, but it feels saggy. All right, drawbacks aside, the H6 GT plug-in hybrid handles better than expected. Handling is customizable thanks to the dynamic steering modes. Like in sports, it's firm and confident, and it gives you that extra, reassurance, especially with the steering wheel in the soft material. You can grip it nicely, whereas light is obviously light and comfort is a happy in between, which I found to be my go-to on my normal trips. But when doing the testing now, I've set it to sport because I wanted to feel what the sport SUV is all about, and the only way to do that was to set everything to sport, including the steering wheel. Overall, the handling is competent but can feel a little bit disconnected at some times. You get the usual suspects when it comes to driving assistance: adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot detection, automatic emergency braking, smart collision avoidance, rear collision warning, and a neat heads-up display. Now, I have to admit, I didn't test any of these myself. I'm not that brave, and also this isn't really my car to do, like those kind of tests with. But that being said, you have the confidence in these systems purely based off of one other feature. These cameras are really impressive, and that's coming from a photographer. I'm joking. Look, they're very high quality, they are very fast, they're very clear for cameras on a car, and I think you'll have confidence in these systems that use the cameras just based off of the actual quality you get from the camera. And honestly, that says a lot if you think about it. Alright, keep everything I've mentioned in mind when we go to pricing, as it makes a big difference, and especially if you're actually deciding to buy this car. But for now, let's check out the interior and styling. Now, the H6 GT plug-in hybrid has been around for about a year and is basically identical to its combustion variant, with a little subtle changes such as the badging and the extra cap for the charging port. But if you haven't been up close and personal with it, let me take you through it. Look, it's a good looking car. Not many SUVs give you this sort of styling, which can be described as sport coupe SUV. Lots of aggressive aero in terms of dual spoilers, the shark fin side skirts, and the rear diffuser. The wheel arches add some muscles to the side profile and complement not only those gloss black 19-inch wheels, but also add to the aesthetic of that fastback roofline. I do like the use of the gloss black and can be found on the mirrors, the bumpers and the grille. However, the carbon-inspired accents really bring everything together about this car. It really drives the sportiness of the H6 GT. The slope from the front to the rears also assists with aerodynamics, but we might see some drawbacks on this on the inside. But I just want to get one thing out of the way. There are a lot of materials being used on the inside. You've got Alcantara on the doors, seats and center console, leather upholstery on the doors and dash, some soft touch finishes all around, a really cool carbon fiber inspired finish that brings that sporty feel inside. All of the above only complemented by the brushed metal, gloss black and graphite trims. Look, it feels like a lot, but honestly it's done so well, everything looks and feels cohesive. I absolutely love the cabin on the front. It's got a slightly sloped dash, which gives you a greater sense of space, especially paired up with the windscreen, which is also slightly sloped, you know, for aerodynamics, but that does kind of reduce your field of vision depending on how you sit, especially with these giant A-pillars here, but it's still a pretty decent view and it's not technically hindering you. It's the same story with the back window. You've got a beautiful, gorgeous fastback appearance from the outside, but on the inside it's a bit of a narrow field of view. The build quality is impressive. The panels are solid and just well put together, and just the seats are very, very nice, very comfortable, quite stylish obviously with the materials as well. So the space in the front is ample, fantastic space for both driver and passenger. No complaints here. Let's check out the back. Even with the Sportback, you're getting a lot of room in the back, and that's actually quite surprising because I didn't expect this car to feel so long, especially just by looking at it. But nevertheless, even, you know, with the roofline and stuff, you have plenty of headroom, plenty of feet space, and especially with the knees. This is set to me in the front, and I've got decent amount of space here. Yeah, it's solid. You've got a few creature comforts, the aircon plus the USB-A ports, a pouch here. You can put your bottle in it. Yeah, just some cubby space on the side. It's a really nice back, I won't lie. The boot doesn't even suffer. Yeah, sure, it's a little low, but just check at the depth. Look, all in all, I believe you're getting more than a fair amount of top spec luxury and convenience on the inside. Alright, I'm a huge fan of tech, as you can tell by all my fancy gadgets that I use for shooting, and I just love playing around with whatever car tech I can find. And glad to say, this comes with a lot. Firstly, a 12.3-inch touch infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 10-inch digital instrument cluster, noise, wireless charging pad, a heads-up display, voice controls, electronic sunshade and roof, as well as some ambient lighting here and there. Probably worth mentioning again, the seats are super comfortable, especially with the adjustable lumbar support for the driver, as well as heating and ventilation for both the front seats, which are also electronically adjustable. Okay, I don't like to complain, but guys, what's up with the wired CarPlay? It's 2025. With that being said, you do get dual USB-As in the front, in the back, as well as dual auto climate control, which is pretty decent. Let's just circle back to the crowns of the interior, the displays. They are high quality and super crisp. No money wasted here. The problem about the main screen is the OS. It can be a little slow when starting up and navigating between screens, and some settings are too hidden, leaving you a little flustered to find them, especially while driving. Say the sport mode options, that's pretty deep in the vehicle settings and took me a while to find. But luckily there's two shortcuts that I found, which are simply by swiping down or swiping left on the main home screen. But other important settings aren't so easy, like the power and steering modes, and even the ADAS systems. Thankfully, you have dedicated buttons for the cameras and air cons, two features which I used a lot. Lots of storage all around the cabin, with storage by the center console in terms of the phone or tray charger, the transformable space here for your cups or larger items, storage underneath the console, and an armrest box. In the back, you've got some door storage and foldable armrest with cup holders. Alright, a little bit of a throw in here. This dial did take in a little bit long for me to actually get used to, but once I found the rhythm, it gets pretty easy. I can understand the appeal of it. It's just, I guess I'm more traditional in terms of having either a lever or, you know, an actual gear shifter for those such things. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I liked it. Yeah, get used to it. So finally, the pricing. Now just keep in mind, you're getting an amazing performance vehicle, an efficient one with a whole lot of standard luxury and tech, all in one package. The Haval H6 GT PHEV is currently priced just under 800,000 Rand, which is not bad, but unfortunately the market is very flooded at this point. So let's see how it does. So a full tank will set you back just over 1,100 Rand. And that'll give you an estimated range of 500 to 600 kilometers just using the petrol engine. However, you have to remember, on a full battery charge, you get 180 kilometers. So all in all, you're looking at between maybe 850 to 860 full range. But with technologies like regenerative braking and forced charging, you're really getting pretty close to that 1,000 kilometer range. Right, I really love what they've done with the Haval H6 GT plug-in hybrid. It's a really different sport SUV. It's a hybrid. And if you think about it, it really uses its power and ability to the max. But I have to compare it to its normal ICE variants, the normal H6 GT. I don't know if I could justify spending that extra 130,000, but you have to admit it is a gorgeous and very, very fast car. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.